in creating your body sex business and you're just starting out, how do you create something from nothing?
And that's what you have to do. And that's the hardest part of being an entrepreneur, because that's what you are. You're
Mm-hmm.
creating something out of nothing. And I think back to Betty's journey and then my own personal journey. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Betty had the idea of doing body sex. She didn't have anything. She just
Mm-hmm.
had taken a CR group. Gloria Steinem said, "Hey, start your own. You want to do physical and sexual consciousness raising." And she said all she knew to do is to empty all the furniture out of her apartment. She had her ex-husband come pick everything up. And then she created the space, a blank canvas. And
Mm-hmm.
she had no idea even the rituals she
Right?
was going to do.
Yeah.
But it's like she created the image in her mind.
Yes, yes, yes. So you have to visualize and be committed to that image and to your business. And you're going to get disappointed along the way. You are. I mean, it's going to happen. You're going to plan a workshop and there aren't going to be enough women who sign up.
Mm-hmm.
Happened to me.
Well, Betty said in the beginning she used to give scholarships to all her friends
Right,
to
right.
kind of get someone. Because remember, you're going to be nude in a circle. It's 1968.
Yeah,
This is before
yeah.
online pornography and like nudity everywhere. Nudity was a big deal.
You know, if Betty could do it, you can do it, right? You just have to have Betty's tenacity. You know, that's really what she had. She didn't give up. She didn't
Well,
give up.
she lacked impulse control and she
Yeah.
would just make a decision and just go for it and never think twice until she was already so far in she couldn't retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Now, another kind of wrinkle to this is that you are going to become an evangelist.
Yes.
Okay. And what do I mean by this? When I was still a lawyer and I had rolled up the assets of thisfailed.com and I had this little media company that I had cobbled together, I created the image in my mind. I want a brand for women where we focus exclusively on sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a website. I was still practicing law. I had nothing. I had the idea and I just kept on talking about it to
Mm-hmm.
anyone who would listen at all.
Mm-hmm.
So one day, Candida Royale rolled into my studio and she was a feminist pornographer from the 70s. And I walked right up and introduced myself and said, "I think we should meet because my name is Carlin Ross and I'm creating this brand for women." Blah, blah, blah. She goes home, gets the call
Mm-hmm.
from the New York Times journalists looking for young professional women moving into the sex industry. And she gives her my number. I get the front page, changes my life. That's how I met Betty.
Right. Exactly. And see, that's it. You have to be talking all the time because you never know. It's about making connections and you'll get help along the way, but you kind of have to spread that connection net. And how do you do that? By sharing what you do. I mean, I have a similar example, not on that grand scale, but just in talking about body sex and working with women and their sexuality. This one woman who was a nanny knew of a lactation consultant that had a feminist yoga studio.
Perfect.
And she connected us. Now, if I hadn't been talking on and on about body sex and how I want to have these workshops for women, I would have never made that connection. So, you know, that's it. You have to talk about this like all of the time and with strangers and like with you, with Candida Royale. I mean, you know, don't be shy. Go up, put out your hand, shake their hand and say, you know, I'm a certified body sex coach. Have you heard of body sex? And
Have
Betty
you heard of
Dotson.
Betty Dotson, the
Yeah.
method of self-love and independent orgasm? And notice that it wasn't a social media interaction. I know it seems like low-hanging fruit because we put something out there and we get a like. But a
Mm-hmm.
like isn't someone that you're meeting in the flesh that you can tell a story to, that you can vibe off that energy that then can take that out. So just be careful about how much time you put on social media. Put things out there, share. But that's a closed market.
It is. Your followers that you currently have may not even see what you put out because the algorithm is all controlled. So person to person connection, body sex is personal. Sex is personal. So you need to make that in person. I'll tell you one of the other things that I did. This was after I got the yoga studio space to hold the workshops. In order to fill workshops, I went old school like Betty. I made flyers. I mean, now it's easier because I could print them out on
Yeah.
my inkjet printer. And I went to coffee shops, places with bulletin boards, coffee shops, the library.
Yeah.
And I walked in, and again, you have to make that personal connection because I had to ask somebody, can I hang this? Show them the flyer. It's what it is. It sparks a conversation. Now, did sometimes people say, oh no, and jump back aghast? Yes. But many times, oh, that looks really interesting. That looks very valuable. Of course, you
Mhm.
can put it up. And it starts a conversation. So that way, whoever it is that you're talking to knows that something like this is out there. And then there are people and women that come in and see the flyer, right? So it's an in-person. I think today, people are drawing less and less from social media, and they're looking for authentic connection. So how does that happen, Carlin?
Well, I just wrote a piece in the New York Times talking about how they think social media is dying. Everyone's
Mhm,
burnt out on it. COVID was a weird moment. So the pendulum's going to swing. So it means that everywhere I go, I'm cycling sex positive energy.
mhm,
Everywhere I go, I'm initiating conversations.
mhm,
I'm thinking about free events that I can hold in my community. Here's the thing about sexuality, because I guess I'm in a blue state, but there are
mhm,
still pockets of conservatism. There's a lot of
mhm,
money where I live.
mhm.
Everyone has a sex question.
Yes,
Everyone wants to be told they're normal, they're average. Everyone has some kind of issue, especially women. There's been a moment, whether it was a difficult pregnancy, painful penetration, menopause, death, loss, divorce, you name it. They want connection.
right, right.
So think about your community and then think about the needs of your community.
Mhm,
Like, I was talking to all the moms in at a black party, and at
mhm,
the black party they were saying how they started a book group because
mhm,
they just wanted an event where they could get out of the house and not be working or taking care of children.
mhm.
So you could do a book club, and you could take some really fun books like Sex for One or Sex at Dawn, and you could have other books, but you could put in some sex books and have a wonderful roundtable discussion.
Right.
The pause life, the new thing on menopause that's really sticky. So think about things, be creative,
Mhm.
bring your energy to it, but you're going to have to create outreach.
You have to create outreach. You know what? I can think of a similar example. I was at a party, recently with my boyfriend. And so, the whole, what do you do? So you start small, but inevitably, and it happened the last time, there's someone who sought me out alone. Tell me what you do. She wanted, we had this great conversation one on one. That's what it takes. And I think another piece of it too, I love the book club idea. The other piece of it is you have to be willing to share your own vulnerability because body sex is a big ask. So to show you're safe, you have to show your belly, right? Not with situations that you haven't worked out already, but share your challenges,
Mhm.
right? And how you've overcome them, because that's what's going to help people trust you. Like, oh, she's sharing her vulnerability. Now I can be naked and vulnerable with her. So that's a big important piece too.
They don't, it's the fear of being judged. What do we
Right.
hate and what do we do as women? The hierarchy. And that's why
Mhm.
we avoid groups of women, because then we
Mhm.
don't want them to say little nasty things to us, right? So
Yes.
we need to overcome that. I've never been as busy or as well received as I was after Goop.
Mhm.
And I really thought everyone was going to call me a whore and a slut. But it was the opposite. I had shared the greatest vulnerability and intimacy in my life.
Mhm.
And God, women were just like, I saw that and I knew I had to work with you.
Right.
So
Right.
you have your blog posts. Write
Yes.
about the difficult shit. Don't write about the safe shit. Don't write about how to give a better blowjob. Just write about, oh my God, I woke up and I realized I hadn't masturbated in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Or I'm struggling to connect to my partner, or I have about a painful penetration,
Mhm.
or I'm struggling with infertility. It doesn't even have to relate to what body sex is. It's just sharing your experience and being real. And real
Mhm.
means I don't have all the answers.
Yes.
Real means I made mistakes. Real means I can fuck up. Real
Right.
means I can be emotional.
Mhm. Yes.
Many times when I know when I'm writing that it's good, when all of
Mhm.
a sudden tears come streaming down my face,
Mhm. Yes. Yes.
because I've really been able to verbalize something that was deep in the body and I was not wanting to deal with, and
Mhm.
now I'm bleeding on the page.
Right, right. Yeah.
And that's the stuff that people will comment, and, like, when shit is good, people
Yes.
lap it up. You don't even
Right.
have to promote it that much.
Mhm.
So, lead from a place like I think of Jane Goodall because she just passed,
Mhm.
and she was beloved by everyone, and it was
Yes.
because she was honest, she
Mhm.
was real, and she encouraged. She'd always say, I
Mhm.
love that line, "No matter what you do today, know that you matter."
Right, right.
And that's the message we say to women. Like, I had a woman say, "Oh, I flew all the way from Australia to come to Menla
Uh-huh.
because I read a blog post where you said I would eat garbage to do this work. Like,
Right?
I would make no money."
Mhm.
And that was just a moment I had and after a workshop that I really felt.
Yes, 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 yes. So, including, it's not just about teaching the knowledge.
Mhm.
It's about including your own personal experience and your own, like I always say when I talk about the internal clitoris, I didn't know about the internal clitoris until I was 57 and I took my first body sex workshop. That helps everybody relax, right?
Or else did I feel more relaxed.
Right? Like, it's okay. It's not shameful that I didn't know this, right?
Mhm.
So, working in your own process and your own journey is just so, so, so important. Blog posts, yes, blog, blog, blog. Um,
So, bare your soul,
mhm.
share your failures, and get out and meet people and connect with people in the flesh.